Hi kids, today we are going to look at math lesson 112. And yesterday we showed mixed numbers using pattern blocks, and then we wrote numbers for those pattern blocks. Okay, so today we're going to take that a little bit further, and we're actually going to draw. Well, actually, we're not going to draw because we're not all together in class. We are going to look at our math, let's see how it's worded, lesson worksheet 112 together. So find that, lesson worksheet 112. And we are going to look at how to actually draw, because we're going to make some changes and show mixed numbers through these pictures. So look at number 1 for me. It says color 2.5 squares. So if you look at the picture, there's 5 squares on there. We know that the number 2 would mean 2 whole squares. So go ahead and take your crayon, which hopefully you have there with you, and color 2 of those squares. And I'm going to do the same thing. And then it says color a half. Okay, so we simply would divide a square in half, divide it into 2, right? Because the denominator is the lower number, which is 2. That's how many there are total, and we are coloring 1/2. So this is what number 1 should look like to show 2.5. Okay, let's go to number 2. It says color 3.5 circles. So we'll color 3 whole circles, right? And I'm doing that with you. And once we color the 3 whole circles, it says color a third of the next circle. So that means that we need to divide our circle into thirds, okay? And that can be a little tricky, actually, to make that even. And it may not be, actually, mine is not exact. Let me work on that a little bit. Just show that it is divided into 3, and you are going to color 1 out of the 3, 1/3. So this represents 3 1/3. The next one is 4 1/4, and we can divide a square into fourths easily. So first, work with the whole number. We're going to color in 4 squares. And then on our last square, we will divide it into 4 equal parts, like that. And it says show 4 1/4. So I will simply color 1 out of the 4, or 1/4. Okay. Number 4 says color 1 3/4 circles. So now that just got a little more difficult, right? But we can do this. We color 1 whole circle to represent 1. And then the 4 is on the bottom. That's the denominator. So that means how the whole should be 4. So I am simply going to divide my second circle into 4 equal parts. And it says to shade 3/4 of that. Okay, or to show 3/4 of that. So my top number's 3, so I'm going to shade 3/4 of that. This shows 1 3/4 of a circle. Okay, the next thing has a direction. It says write a mixed number to show how much food is shaded. Write a mixed number to show how much food is shaded. So let's look at this together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 that are completely shaded. So my big number is going to be 5 whole. And then the last box is divided into 4, and 1 is shaded. So our denominator is 4. Our numerator, then, how many is shaded, is 1. So my fraction would be 1/4. My mixed number then would be 5 1/4. Okay, let's do the same for number 6. There's 3 whole circles shaded. And then that last circle is divided into half. So my fraction would be half. My mixed number would be 3 1/2. Okay, let's look at number 7. Let's write a mixed number to show the value of these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded. The last one is divided into 3 equal spaces. So my denominator is going to be 3 because it's 3 equal groups, right? And 2 are shaded. So what did you get for your mixed number? Okay, it should be 4 2/3. And my last, number 8, my last mixed number should be, there's 2 whole. Then to get the denominator, the last circle is divided into 4. How many are shaded? What should your mixed number be? 2 3/4. Okay, good job, boys and girls. Now let's quickly look at Guided Class Practice 112A. And you should be able to do everything that's on here. Some of the words could be a little hard. Why don't I go ahead and read number 1 with you so we can get the words down and talk about it a little bit. Number 1, the children in Mrs. Conti's class planted 18 tomato plants and 16 pepper plants. The children in Mrs. Monaco's class planted 14 tomato plants and 15 squash plants. How many tomato plants did they plant all together? So boys and girls, what should you underline? What exactly are they asking? Because there's a lot of information in there, but we want to find out how many tomato plants did they plant all together? That means both classes. How many did they plant all together? So we are only dealing with the tomato plants. Let's go back up to the top. In Mrs. Conti's class, they planted 18 tomato plants. Okay, let's bracket 18 tomato plants. Now, is the question that they're asking have anything to do with pepper plants? It does not. Just cross 16 pepper plants out. That is meant to confuse you, but you're so smart, I know you caught it. Let's keep reading. The children in Mrs. Manico's class planted 14 tomato plants. Okay, bracket that. And 15 squash plants. Do we need to know about squash plants? No, we do not. So put a line through that. How many tomato plants did they plant all together? So that would mean 18. And you can just put a T and a P for tomato plant. It's an abbreviation. 18, that was from Mrs. Conti's class, plus 14 from Mrs. Manico's class. Put a T and a P, equals. Then you will rewrite that information vertically in your workspace to get your answer. Okay? Number 3 works with perimeter. You should be fine with that. Number 4 is our first mixed number. Go ahead and try to do that on your own. I am going to send home the answer key so that you can check your work, and just be careful on number 6 because we have a mixed bag of types of problems. But I am very confident that you all can do this, and you can check your work with the answer key. Okay, the last thing I want to go over real quick is Class Fact Practice 112A. And this looks a little different than ones we've done before because we're multiplying by 5. Number 1 says multiply each number on the clock face by 5. So really, you're just filling in your clock face, And then since we count at 5-minute intervals on our clock face, it's going to actually do the multiplying for you. 5 times 1 is 5, right? It'll be 0, 0 at the top. 5 times 2 is 10. So go ahead and do all of that. Number 3 is fill in the missing factor. So when we did addition, we used to say fill in the missing add-in. That meant what number that we used addition for was missing. We say factor when we work with multiplication. So fill in the missing factor. What times 5 equals 35? You could go back up to your clock, find 35, and see that it was a 7. Okay, so practice doing that. And then on number 2, you just match the problems with the answers. Okay, good luck, kiddos. I will send that answer key. That answer key will be attached, and I do encourage you to check it over yourself. Have a great day. Bye-bye.